Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the WooSox Insider Podcast. As always, except for last episode, I'm with my co-host, Chris Bergstrom. I'm Tim Quidadamo, TQ, and we're with Dylan McCaffrey, our beloved producer. Chris, we did a live show during the blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't make it. What happened?
Well, it snowed.
It did?
Did it snow? Interesting.
It snowed. I live
You're right.
a good amount away. The power went out, no internet. And then I'm texting you guys and TQ's like, well, here's the link. And I'm like, literally, I have no internet though.
Well,
I'm not going to make it. And why don't you use your phone? I'm like, but I have no power, so I can't charge my phone. And
have you ever heard of a portable charger?
The show must go on.
I have. It was a mistake, but I'm back this week. I heard you guys need a little rating spike back up from last, so here I am. I'm back.
That's why, not because you committed to this as a co-host. You were thinking about hanging it up, but you were like, yeah, their ratings are struggling, so let's come
this
back.
Could be it. I mean, if this was the best episode ever.
Let me ask you, if you knew that last week's show was going to start with a musical number, would you have gotten yourself there to be a part of it or to stop it?
Actually, funny thing is, I brought my guitar. No, I'm just joking. No guitar here. So, but it was great. It was good. You guys, I heard, a couple of stories about David Ortiz. TQ broke Tom Brady's retirement. He didn't really retire yet.
You heard it here first. Well,
false news.
You heard it before Brady.
Guess what? TQ. Tom Brady has retired from the NFL.
Officially, as we're recording this.
I broke it. You didn't. You're fake Tuesday. News. This is real
Tuesday,
news.
February 1st.
That's right.
He broke it. Well, I did clearly say up on the stage, Tom, I know you're watching. I know you're listening. And I just wanted to congratulate him personally because I knew he was tuning in to the WooSox Insider Podcast.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So I think of all the Tom Brady stories we've heard in the last week or so, I think that must be what finally did him in, because Schefter reported it. And then I think Tom was probably like, I wanted to be the first to say I'm retiring. I don't like this. But then once he heard the WooSox congratulated him on a hell of a career, he was like, you know what? I can't make these guys look bad.
I bet you he thought about that. I don't even think he remembers he played in New England. He just thanked Tampa. So it's fine. But we can move on from that and just get to our
He thanked New England after 20 years.
Yeah.
Decaf, how do you feel about it as a Dolphins fan?
I don't think I should comment on this medium, how I feel about it and how happy I am.
So we have an exciting...
You still aren't going to win anything, so I don't even know why you're excited.
Ding dong, the witch is dead.
Yeah.
His career is my entire lifespan. I don't know a world
but we still
where
have
Tom
an
Brady doesn't
undefeated
ruin
team.
my Sundays.
But we still have an undefeated team, guys.
Yeah, 14 games.
Yeah. Ooh.
Must be nice.
One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, Dan Marino, who didn't win a Super Bowl. But I digress.
Gronkowski didn't have the angle. I can go on, but I don't think it would do for good ratings. We haven't shown
I know. There must be another Dolphins fan listening to this somewhere.
My uncle,
his dad.
Yeah, but I mean, winter. It was. I'm sad that I missed winter weekend. A lot of great news broke, and I think we're going to dive into our promo schedule a little bit more because there's a lot of great things coming up here for WooSox 22.
Yeah, we have a great interview about that promotional schedule on this episode with our Vice President of Marketing, Brooke Cooper, who we all work directly with. Brooke is phenomenal. She's amazing. She's organized, which helps us out a lot because there's a lot of moving pieces and files and equipment that we use, and she helps set the structure and helps set us up for success. So
this is a really interesting interview you're going to hear, and it helped me out because there's a lot of staying the same from last year and a lot that is new and changing. And I honestly didn't have a clear picture of it until Brooke just came on and laid it out. So it's going to be a really good interview if you can stick around for it. Worth it.
I'm very happy you have a clear picture now. Makes my day.
Yeah.
Chris, I'll explain it after the show. I got it down now.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to it.
And now we welcome on our Vice President of Marketing, Brooke Cooper, who has played a huge part in all of the promotional nights that you've all enjoyed at Polar Park. So, Brooke, thanks for coming on WooSox Insider with us.
Great. Thanks for having me, guys. I feel like a real VIP being in front of the camera this time.
The VP is always a VIP. Last week, obviously, we had our WooSox Winter Weekend. We released our promotional schedule. So what are some of the promotions that we didn't have in 2021 that you're really excited about going into the 2022 season?
Yeah, I think, if we wanted to go by day of the week, we have our Take Two Tuesdays, which highlights one specific item. If you buy it, you get to take two. So that includes French fries on one Tuesday, all-American cheeseburgers, polar seltzer waters, lots of different things. And then Wednesdays is the big one. Give a Wednesdays. I think from a fan perspective, this is something that's to be most excited about. Every Wednesday night game, we will give away a bobblehead, and we have 7 bobbleheads that we'll be giving away. Some of those include a Smiley Ball bobblehead, Rich Gedman bobblehead.
How does Smiley Ball's head bobble?
Well, it's really a body bobble.
A torso, a bobble torso?
But it's his head too, so it's a full body roll bobble.
Okay, I'm excited to see it in action.
And I had to fight Chris Bergstrom on this one, but we have a Tate Metheny Play of the Year making that amazing.
Wait a minute.
Wait, now
Chris.
we're never going to get Tate Metheny on the podcast just because of that. That's fine. It's cool.
Chris, why would you fight against that?
I mean, who wouldn't want a Tate Metheny bobblehead? It's fine. I'm
Exactly.
looking forward to getting mine. He made one of the best catch. I mean, it was probably the best catch in WooSox history in 1 year.
Easily was.
Yeah.
So
So
you're avoiding the question.
I don't avoid questions. I dodge them.
Why did you fight against Brooke for the Tate Metheny bobblehead?
I mean, Brooke, do you want to break some news in this podcast and let us know that there'll be a TQ bobblehead this year?
Hey, if that's what the fans want, that's what we say, right? We listen to the fans.
Nobody wants that.
They did say that they want a Dr. Charles bobblehead, so stay tuned for breaking news.
Those should be like, it's got to work the duck boots into those, like bobble feet. Dr. Charles bobble feet? No? Okay.
No.
Okay. So we have Give It Wednesdays, Take Two Tuesdays, right?
Yeah.
Please tell me that fireworks are back on Friday night.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we have Friday night fireworks. And they'll always be themed to a wonderful musical medley. Those are a staple. So those are returning, as our Sunset Catch on the Fields on Saturdays, and Fallon Health Family Fun Day Sundays with Kids Run the Bases. So we've still got the full lineup of experiences.
So one more time, what is remaining from last year, and then what's changing?
So I'd say,
can you say it all backwards? Can you go Sunday back to Tuesday now, or
the weekend is largely remaining the same. So going backwards, right? Sundays are still for the families. You get to run the bases. Saturdays, you get to play catch on the field. Fridays, you have fireworks. And then I would say from there, we have a lot of additions. So Thursdays are Woo U college nights. Woo U is our student loyalty program. Wednesdays, Give a Wednesdays, again, focusing on bobbleheads. And then Tuesdays, Take Two Tuesdays. So you buy one, take two.
I think that Tuesday just became the hottest ticket of the week for me. I've never gone to a game and just been like, can I have one hot dog? Can I have I don't know. If I'm enjoying a 3-hour ball game, I'm going to need a pile of them. You don't go to Coney Island hot dogs and just get one, right? Am I crazy to say that?
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's like eating one Oreo. You can't do it. You're grabbing at least 2. So go ahead, Brooke.
No, I was gonna say, so those are, I guess, our daily, our weekly promotions. But shall we dive right into my favorite and talk about Marvel's Defenders of the Diamond game?
Wait a second. Did you just say Marvel?
I did, because we were allowed to.
Yes, finally. Okay, great. Here we go.
No more super powered heroes. This year we're having super heroes.
Yeah, so Sunday, August 7th, Marvel's Defenders of the Diamond, minor league baseball in partnership with Marvel. The WooSox players will actually wear Marvel-themed jerseys on the field, and we have a fan vote going on right now. I'm interested to hear, I know this whole group is pretty heavy into Marvel. Who did you guys vote for?
Captain America.
I think the Captain America, there's a lot of white on it, which I know will look good on a baseball uniform, but I feel like we can't waste the opportunity to make them all dress like the Hulk and just have a huge set of pecs and abs on their chests as they go out and play.
I also voted for the Hulk with one condition, which I don't know if we'd be able to make happen before the actual game. The Hulk has like the start of his shorts at the bottom. I would want purple pants and green socks on it too. So I know the jerseys are just the jerseys and they all look sick. Fans, you can go vote on them. We'll be promoting them on social media so you can vote and see what you want to see WooSox players wear. But I think the Hulk would just be so funny. Brooke, what did you vote for?
I was waiting for you to ask. I voted for Black Panther because I think, the jersey is so clean. But also, I guess the new Black Panther movie, pieces of it were filmed in Worcester. Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
TQ and Chris are Worcester guys. Didn't even know that.
No, it was on Main Street. They filmed it on Main Street. TQ is not a real Worcester guy, apparently, so it's fine.
Apparently not.
You know that. And they're not real Marvel fans because, guys, when's the Hulk movie coming out? Do you guys know when the Hulk movie's coming out?
She-Hulk is coming out in
Do you know
November?
when the Hulk movie's not coming out because that's why we shouldn't have his jersey.
The Hulk movie came out in 2009. Okay,
Box
but wait a
office
minute.
hit.
Imagine we get Johan Mieses a tiny extra small jersey and he hulks out of it. He hulks out of the Hulk jersey and just flexes through it and pops all the buttons on it. Incredible.
Before hitting another home run off a train. It would be pretty great. So
honestly,
Brooke,
I didn't vote for it, but the Thanos one I think looks sick, and I wouldn't hate if it was that one.
Brooke is very against the Thanos.
I am.
Very
You're
against
still
Thanos.
bitter. You're still broken up about Vision.
I'm
Spoilers.
gosh, guys, how many times did we all cry during Endgame?
4 personally.
4, right?
When Thor caught the hammer during the opening credits, and then 2 parts that I won't spoil.
The movie came out 5 years ago.
Yeah, but I have friends that I have convinced to listen to this podcast, but have yet to convince to watch Avengers Endgame. So I need them to catch up before I.
Or you need to become more convincing.
Hey, maybe if they can get them to a WooSox game that's entirely Avengers themed, they'll get in the spirit.
So, Brooke, obviously you didn't start out here as the vice president of marketing. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about college for you and then how you involved with the Pawtucket Red Sox?
Yeah, sure. So I always say that I fell into baseball and, I'm fortunate to have fallen into baseball. But I was a college basketball player. I played at Franklin Pierce University, small Division II school in New Hampshire. And from there, I went and got my master's in business administration from Providence College. I was working at a YMCA at the time as a site director during before and after school programs. And my MBA program told me that I needed to do an internship, that my full-time job didn't count as business experience. So I left my full-time job and got an internship with the Pawtucket Red Sox, who had actually denied me 2 years earlier of an internship.
Wow.
I was, so, little advice for everyone, be persistent.
You hold a lot less of a grudge than me. I don't know if I'd be going back. Good thing you didn't.
I know, I'm happy I didn't. So anyway, so I did an internship there. I started in merchandise in the team store. And my direct supervisor left at the end of the season. So I just kind of knew what was going on and naturally fit into the position, became the merchandise manager. From there, we didn't really have a marketing department in Pawtucket. And so I started taking some marketing tasks on. And from there, it really just evolved. Now, I work closely with you guys in productions. I've recently started working with special events. And then our whole promotional schedule. So, I'm definitely not someone who necessarily saw myself having a career in baseball. I always say I'm much more of a basketball lover, but I will say there is something that's so special about a ballpark and the atmosphere and the nostalgia, the experience you get to have with your family that you really can't get with a lot of other sports. And I also think that in minor league baseball, we do so much with the community that's really, I think, made it worthwhile for me. And that's been a big reason why, I've been in minor league baseball for as long as I have, because I always thought I'd be in the nonprofit world. But, with the WooSox Foundation and all of our community efforts, we get to do all of those things and make a difference.
So the short version of that question of what do you do here is just every single thing, literally every single thing you're lucky enough to get to be a part of here. We talked last week about Charles Steinberg climbing into the smiley ball suit. When I first laid eyes on Whooster the Wonder Dog, it was Brooke Cooper dancing around and putting on a show.
It was me. And Chris,
in front of the entire front office.
Tell them when I knew that Wooster came in, I was like hounding Chris. I was like, I want to be the first one in Wooster.
She was
hounding. Gets all sweaty and gross.
And then when she was in the suit, probably about 10 minutes later, she wanted to be the first one to get out of the suit. She had
you can't breathe in that thing. The unsung heroes of the organization are the actors in the mascot suits.
Decaf, all you do is talk about mascots. Every episode, you gotta bring in the mascot.
I'm obsessed. I'm low-key obsessed.
Yeah. So, Brooke, I want to go back real quick because I think it's really interesting. You said in Pawtucket, and for those who don't know, minor league baseball and minor league sports in general are a much smaller operation than you would ever think. You said in Pawtucket, we didn't really have a marketing department. You kind of started taking on a little bit more responsibility as you went on. There was a huge marketing project going on the last couple of years at Pawtucket. What was it like taking on a little bit more marketing responsibilities and then going through an entire rebrand?
So I think that's where my merchandise experience really came in handy, right? Because there are so many things that fall under marketing. Mm-hmm. Anything can be considered marketing. And with the experience I had in merchandise and in licensing, that was so crucial to the rebranding and knowing what goes into the creation of logos and how the logos need to be translated onto the new era caps with the threads and so many different things. So it's really refreshing sometimes when Kat Burns and I, Kat's our merchandise manager, speak about these things, because sometimes it can kind of be its own language. But yeah, so when we talk about the rebranding, that was so stressful and so much fun at the same time. And if, for the record, I can just say that at the beginning, I was so against the name WooSox. And the reason for that is because people just assumed we were going to be WooSox because we were the Paw Sox, and now moving to Worcester and, it being the Woo. And I felt like an opportunity to be creative was taken away from me. And so I was just so against it to start with, because I wanted us to come out with a bang and make a statement. But ultimately, again, you have to listen to your fans, you have to listen to the market, and people either loved or hated the name WooSox, which is exactly what you want out of a name. The last thing you want, that's the thing, the last thing you want is for people to be totally indifferent, right?
For nobody to care.
Absolutely. And they loved it or hated it. And, we were able to, I think, be creative in tying in what makes Worcester unique, with the smiley face and Smiley Ball, as well as it being the heart of the Commonwealth and tying that into the W. So, I mean, there was still a lot of opportunity, but for the record, I was against the name WooSox, but I have since been converted.
You're the head of marketing for an organization that made their logo a smiley face, and it was like we took heat for it. Like opening night on Twitter, we launched the logo, and there was love for sure, and there was hate. Like you said, it's polarizing. The hate was there with the love, and I remember I also didn't like the name when it started. We always talk about Emerson classes. I was in Dr. Charles's Emerson class, and the rest of the class expressed the same thing. The WooSox, it seems kind of lazy. Dr. Charles said, all right, it's March. We're going to do some March Madness. He made a whole bracket on the whiteboard, and he drew a bunch of different names, and we eliminated them as we went. And WooSox won because at the end, it makes the most sense. It beat everything else out.
Yeah. When you have
who beats the WooSox?
Nobody.
Right, nobody. When you have tens of thousands of fans already calling a team the WooSox before they even move, it's hard to try to get them to pivot and do another name. And Decaf, that was another interesting point, bringing up our launch. We did a live Nesson show from the Mercantile Center where we released our brand, all of our logos, our style plan for that year and everything. And I think one of the things I found most interesting was, although there was a lot of hate on Twitter from people around the country that were all watching, there was this sort of sense of Worcester natives that knew instantly, oh, you're incorporating the story of Harvey Ball. You have the heart in the W because it's the heart of the Commonwealth. It's on, we have hearts on every street sign in the city. You're incorporating Ted Williams and David Ortiz with the left-handed swinging smiley. And there was a lot of love from people of Worcester because they took ownership of it right away, and they recognized that the work was put in to do the research and study the history of the city before essentially just coming in and saying, hey, I want to name a baseball team this. We really took into account the city. So it was kind of a lot like Worcester in the fact that we know what's going on here and we love what's going on here. And even if other people hate it, they can hate it if they want. Doesn't matter.
Well,
We're
that
still
actually
gonna be
makes Worcester people like it more, is when other people
Right.
hate it, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like, it's ours though. It's ours. Stay away.
And
Yeah,
to
exactly.
that point, as someone who's not from Worcester, I think my own family sometimes underestimates my role in the organization. I had like my grandfather, after seeing the logo, he was like, oh, a smiley face. That's stupid. Who came up with that? Who approved that? And I was just like Pepe, I actually was very involved. He didn't realize he was directly insulting me. But
I remember I was also, even as a Worcester native, very against the original drawings of Smiley Ball. And I was looking at it and I was like, there could be so many other things. I felt the same way as you. We could be so creative and out there, especially minor league teams, have some wild mascots. And then I saw a New Era hat proof on your desk. It was stitched into the hat. And as I walked by it, I noticed that I smiled looking at it. And I think even just being begrudging as I am, I looked at it and shook my head, smiling. And I was like, this is so stupid. And then later on that day, I looked at it and smiled. And that's basically the point of the whole thing. It's supposed to be fun. It can be goofy looking. And it's just fun to have. And it represents the city well. So,
and if I can also just add, there was one design in particular that made it pretty far and never saw the light of day that I
breaking news.
Still pretty excited about, and I'm hopeful that one day we might have a what if night, right? Like what if we were something else? And so I won't disclose that design because I'm hopeful it will eventually see the light of day.
Do you know what season we might have a what if day?
To be determined.
Is there any
Under
chance of it being
lock and key.
2022?
I don't think so.
Maybe.
We'll shoot.
She didn't
We'll
say
shoot
no.
Yeah, that's not a no.
Didn't say no.
So
That's
you're
what I was
telling
learning
me
from
there's
my
a
mom.
chance.
I'm like, Mom, but you didn't say no.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's pretty much
What I
you.
remember most from like a lot of our initial marketing when we launched the brand was like TQ, you said, like people, and Chris, you said people from Worcester recognize like the pieces of our merchandise. And Brooke, I remember you had us put together like the anatomy of Smiley Ball and like the logos, and it was just like our whole launch was an explanation of like what is this, to make it clear to everyone. Like that was like we put ourselves in the shoes of people not from Worcester and had to think about how to get them up to speed.
Which it's important to tell the story, right, Brooke? I mean, because I mean, if you are down in Fort Myers at JetBlue Park, you're walking down that hallway and the player's like, oh, okay, Salem. And they're probably like, what the heck is that? You know, when they look at Smiley Ball. But then once you hear the story, you're like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So you mentioned you were a basketball player at Franklin Pierce. Dave Leonardi, who used to work for you in the merchandising department in Pawtucket, he did a lot of prep work going into this episode, writing down some questions that we wanted to ask you. And another thing he wrote down were your college basketball stats.
Oh,
All right,
great.
Dave.
I bet you they're better than TQ's baseball stats, by the way. So,
Oh, definitely. So
Yeah.
I think the first thing to mention is you were named to the fall and spring NE10 Commissioner's Academic Honor Roll every year.
Yeah, I mean, I was a great student.
Yeah.
You're always on the honor roll,
I'm wicked smart.
but we got your stat expert here, Dave Leonardi.
Wait, Dave, can you do the programs thing
Hang
for
on,
us?
hang on.
So Dave used to sell programs in Pawtucket for the Paw Sox outside. So if you ever went to a Paw Sox game at McCoy, you might have heard Dave yelling this. Go
You
ahead,
had to
Dave.
know this was coming.
Yeah, I yelled for about 3 years, so you probably heard me at some point. Even if you live near the stadium, you probably heard me.
Make sure to lean back from the mic when you do it. Let's hear it.
Here.
I would buy one just to have you be quiet for about 5 minutes.
One time,
have-
someone
You did your
came up
job
to me,
for sure.
Someone came up to me, tipped me $7, and said, "God bless, have a great day." And walked away from my stand.
I
So-
met Dave when he was a sophomore in high school, and I remember after his first day of work, he came into my office and he said, "Brooke, I just want to thank you so much for giving me a chance. I just love being here. I just love working here." And then when he walked out, I was just thinking to myself, like, man, I wish everyone was like that. It was just such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
Still the
and
same
now
to this day.
it is still the same. Now Dave works with us in the production department. He's been busting his hump editing these podcasts and posting everywhere. The audiogram teasers that you see on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So we wanted to give him a little bit of shine here since he did start with you in merchandise down in Pawtucket, Brooke.
He did.
So now let's get a little.
These stats.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, let's
ask,
get into it.
ask away. Let's get into the stats.
Whoa.
I wonder
So,
if Brooke
Brooke,
knows her own stats.
your senior year, you averaged 4.2 rebounds a game, but your first 3 seasons, you didn't even eclipse over 3 rebounds a game. What made you such a rebounding star in your senior year?
Yeah, I would say at the end of my freshman year, I started suffering from plantar fasciitis, and I had double foot surgery my sophomore year. So I actually sat out for a good portion of my sophomore year. I was like right on the verge of being able to redshirt, but I wasn't able to. So I would say college was a bit of a roller coaster for me for sure. And I finally felt like I caught my groove senior year right as I was walking out the door. So I mean, really, that's it.
Dave's a lot less critical of you. I was going to ask what happened freshman year, 5.5 points a game, and then it doesn't climb back up to
Yeah.
above 5.5 points until senior year. You're in the library. I see you're on the honor roll every year, but you're not in the gym getting big.
Tough crowd. I wouldn't have been a star player anyways. I was a good role player and
Oh, come on.
I was a really good defender.
What position did you play? The 1, 2?
I was like a 1-2 combo guard. Yeah.
Okay.
But I will say my first game ever for Franklin Pierce, we played against UConn at UConn. And I matched up with Maya Moore, and wow, what a showdown!
Whoa.
That's a joke.
That
That's
is-
a joke.
Clash of the Titans.
No, that's a total joke.
Wait a minute.
But it was really cool to be on the floor with the epitome of female athletes. They were just awesome. Maya Moore was my idol.
And you got to play against
Can we
her.
tease and speak into existence the WooSox company basketball team and start taking the show on the road? We show up with our mascots to a gymnasium to play around. You might also get a loss handed your way.
Who I might get a loss, or you're saying? who
No,
we
I'm
should
saying
play?
we show up.
Okay.
We'll bring the mascots, but we're also going to bring the pain.
Okay, all right, absolutely. I mean, I'm down to play anytime.
I love it.
Who would be on our team?
We got you, me, Dan Diggins,
Okay.
Charles Steinberg.
Charles Steinberg.
Does anyone else in the organization play?
Dave said he can play center.
Larry used to play Division I, didn't he? Back in the day?
He did. He played at Princeton.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'd have to get him back out on the hardwood.
I can shoot
Why
threes.
not?
That's all I do.
Can
Smiley
you?
ball.
Strain buckets. Yeah, that's
Smiley
all.
did play some basketball at the Grace Center.
How did he do?
Terrible.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Just absolutely terrible.
Maybe Bob
So-
Cousy would come back.
Brooke,
Yeah.
before you go, I do have a couple good questions Dave added before he got into your basketball stats that I wanted to get in.
Yep.
And I wanted to quiz you really quick. Do you know how many total promotions we ran in 2021, or did you lose count? It's impossible, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and like, what's considered a promotion, right? How many things?
Yeah. So beyond that, if you had to pick one, what was your favorite promotional day, or just a big picture from 2021 or from your career? Like, is there anything you can point to and say, like, that was the day I felt the most proud this season? Or I know it's a big question, could take a lot in, but anything stand out above the rest?
I think I might know Brooke's answer from last season. And I think it might be the deaf awareness night.
Yeah. There are some games that, like, at the end of them, you are so proud and so happy that they're over because, like, it's just, there's so much that goes into it. And the thing about what we do is that for us, it's game after game after game. But for the fans and for the community partners and organizations that we work with, for them, that is the game that matters. So it's so important to put your best foot forward every single night. And sometimes for some of these promotions, when there's a lot that goes into it, it's really hard finding that excitement for each one. And it's really special to dive into those relationships and pull that energy from our community partners. So you're absolutely right. I think deaf awareness was one of them, because there was so much that went into it from, a production standpoint, from special merchandise that we had, the caption cast software that translates the PA into text. So that was one that I was really proud of. I was also proud of our Autism Acceptance. Again, that's another one. We have the Unum sensory friendly area and fan services, but we also had an autism affinity area in the DCU club. We had early entrance tours for individuals with autism and their families. And I think when you speak with families and they tell you, I had no idea that this was something that you would do, and normally I wouldn't consider coming to a game. Those things are really special. I also think I loved Juneteenth, with Juneteenth being a national holiday now. We had 14-year-old Leah McBride sing Lift Every Voice. And
she was amazing.
She was nervous, right? She's never sang at a ballpark before. And so she was making me nervous. And then she went out there and she just killed it. This girl is so good. And then when I asked her about singing and, do you want to be a singer or a musical artist? She was like, oh, no, that's just something that I do. I'm actually really into arts. I care a lot about various social causes and everything. And I was just like, this girl's a rock star,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess, the memories come flooding back as we talk about them. But I don't know, it's difficult sometimes to pinpoint one in particular.
That's a great answer.
As you were reminiscing and naming a lot of those things, I found myself sitting there going, oh yeah, we did that. We had that promotional night. Or, oh yeah, well, I forgot about that, because there was just so much that went on here in the inaugural season in 2021. And there's going to be even more that goes on for 2022. So Brooke, I know you're busy. You have meetings all of the time.
You guys didn't ask me about opening day.
That's right.
Isn't that like a thing?
You're right. I said to Mario, I was going to ask how everyone's opening day was. And then here we are. We did a live podcast with Charles. I forgot to ask him. And I
didn't forget to ask Charles, but I didn't ask him. We were a little pressed for time that day.
My opinion always is my favorite game is the day after opening day. So tell us about your opening day.
Oh gosh. Opening day was so crazy and so awesome. But there are two things that come to mind. One is really quick. And TQ, you must remember this. Do you remember how Pies in the Sky went on opening day?
I remember. I don't remember how it went, but I do remember our PA announcer, Ben DeCastro, looked over at me and he said, because this was a similar promotion we did to Pawtucket and everyone knew the rules. It was a tradition in Pawtucket. And on opening day, Ben looked over at me and he said, I don't think anyone in the seating bowl knows that they have the chance to win a pie right now. If the contestant wins the promotion, we need to do a better job explaining it. And it hadn't even dawned on me until that, but no, I don't remember. And I'm scared to hear you tell this story.
So Pies in the Sky, we hadn't had a chance to do a proper run through with the airsoft gun that shoots up the soft toss ball. And plus the ambassadors that were doing it were all brand new to this. So they had the airsoft gun facing towards the outfield and they must have pumped it up too much because the soft toss ball went directly to center field. I remember watching from the concourse just saying, oh no, get it off the field, right? Because in minor league baseball, you have a set amount of time to get off the field.
At most 2 minutes.
Yeah, otherwise, you get a warning, and we don't want to start off our opening day in a new ballpark, on a bad foot with the league. So anyway, shot to center field, and
we're also in foul ground to stay away from all of the players.
Yeah.
So needless to say, Jackie Wilkes and I went onto the field the next day before any fans came in, and we were just practicing. All right, how many times do you have to pump up the gun? Where should we point it? All things that should have been done before opening day that weren't.
I think the biggest story here, though, is that the center fielder missed an opportunity to win a pie for everybody in the stands.
Yeah, there was a time later in the season that the ball went up over the net and into the visitors' bullpen, and one of the relief pitchers, I think it was for the Iron Pigs,
I do,
caught it and was throwing his arms up in the air and up in the production room. A lot of the stuff we do is scripted, and there are little times that Ben DeCastro gets to have a little bit of power, and he did not miss an opportunity like that. The ball was caught. That means everyone in the ballpark gets a table talk pie.
Yep. And then
I'm just imagining that person with the ball shooting into center field, panicking. We're gonna discover the next Jackie Bradley Jr. if they just run and track this down deep center.
I don't think anyone was panicking more than I was. And then the other one that I'll say quickly, was we had our opening day photo giveaway. And, as Charles and
That's
Larry always
right.
say, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. So it wasn't just okay that we were giving away like this beautiful image of Polar Park on opening day. It had to be an image of the first pitch on opening day, and it had to be given away to fans as they left the ballpark that day, right? So like we had a very small margin for error on that. And I worked with Kate Fultz, our very talented photographer, ahead of time. She knew she had to get certain shots, and then we had to get it to the printer. We had the template pre-made. I was going to have to pull Charles and Larry away from everything else going on opening day to get their approval of the photos. And we did all of that, and we got the photo to the printer. And I told them, green light, go. I no sooner take a sigh of relief when Kate calls me and says, wait, we have a better photo from our photography intern, Siobhan Richards. And I look at it and I'm like, oh, this is the one that everyone's going to want. I had to pull Charles again, and he agreed. And I had to call the printer, and I called and I said, stop the presses. I'm sending you a new photo. And so shout out to my guy, Tim Morse at Miles Press, because a few months later we were on the phone and he said, do you remember the 3 words that you said to me? He goes, those are the 3 words that no one in the printing business ever wants to hear. Stop the presses. But they did. They stopped the presses. They inserted the new photo, and we got everything here on time to be given away to our fans before they left the ballpark.
Now, see, that's a true leader, because you know what I would have done? I would have said, Kate, come over here. I go, you see that delete button right there? I'm going to have you hit that. And then we never spoke. You never talked to me. I never talked to you.
This picture never happened.
Chris, I would be a dishonest person if I said that didn't cross my mind.
See, I knew it.
I drove in with Kate that day and we were going over like the schedule, and she was like, wait a minute, I have to take a picture on the field at this time. And then 1 minute later, take a picture on the roof. And I was like, have fun.
They hear
and
it
then
out.
later, I don't remember if it was during
Welcome
the
to
game
baseball.
or after, but I forget if I heard it on the radio or just heard it from someone. But across the radio, it was like, if I see another girl with a camera running across this lobby, I'm going to lose it. I was like, I just hope Kate got the shot.
Yeah. And both her and Siobhan did. I can't believe that was the first Kate Fultz, our incredible photographer, who's no longer with us. She moved
in the team.
to LA.
She just moved, by the way.
She just moved. She's alive. Yeah. But I can't believe that's the first Kate Fultz shout out on this show.
First and
We'll
last.
probably have her in an episode.
And
Yeah.
we should shout out to Siobhan Richards as well, because
Yep.
not only did she come in clutch then, but she also came in clutch with the Tate Metheny catch.
Yeah, that was all her. She's coming back this season.
Good.
Led to the bobblehead.
True, it did lead to the bobblehead. Chris, we're gonna maybe when we don't have Brooke on, we're gonna talk more about this, because I need to pry about why you were so against it.
I have a story about Tate's dad too, so we can talk about that.
All right, we'll save that for another episode. So,
Okay.
Brooks, thanks for joining us. Obviously, a lot going on in 2022 as far as promotions go. You can go to WooSox.com to check out that schedule. Single game tickets for April and May are on sale now. That includes opening day. So if you want to be at Polar Park on opening day, the first opening day, barring any other issues with COVID, the first opening day at 100% capacity, we're looking forward to getting a packed house here on that Tuesday afternoon. Or if you want to get more than just opening day tickets, buy a mini plan. We have 9 and 18 game mini plans available. Or if you're that dedicated, you can call us at 508-500-8888 and talk to a representative about some season tickets, maybe, or a half season plan. Share it with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your enemies. Who knows? Everyone has a good time at Polar Park. But Brooke, thanks once again for joining us. And any last words before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I just want our listeners to know that TQ and Chris, who are Worcester natives, always go hard for Worcester internally with every discussion that we have. They are so proud to be from Worcester, and they always go hard for their city. That's it.
That's
Well, there you have it. Brooke will pay you after the show. It's WooSox 22, always something cool and new. And thanks for listening, everybody. See you later.